The ancient history of Palestine is a tapestry woven with the threads of numerous civilizations, cultures, and empires that have left indelible marks on its landscape and people. Situated at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe, Palestine has been inhabited for millennia, with evidence of human presence dating back to the Paleolithic era. From the earliest settlements to the rise and fall of powerful empires, the ancient history of Palestine is a fascinating journey through time. Palestine's ancient history is often intertwined with the history of its neighboring regions, particularly Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Levant. The region's strategic location along major trade routes, such as the Via Maris and the King's Highway, made it a crucial hub for commerce and cultural exchange. One of the earliest known civilizations to inhabit Palestine was the Canaanite civilization, which flourished during the Bronze Age, circa 3000–1200 BCE. The Canaanites established city-states and developed advanced agricultural techniques, as evidenced by archaeological discoveries of irrigation systems and terraced fields. Cities such as Jericho, Megiddo, and Hazor were prominent centers of Canaanite culture and trade. During the Late Bronze Age, circa 1550–1200 BCE, Palestine came under the influence of the powerful Egyptian New Kingdom. Egyptian pharaohs, such as Thutmose III and Ramesses II, conducted military campaigns in the region and established control over key cities. Egyptian artifacts and inscriptions found in Palestine attest to the extent of Egyptian influence during this period. The Iron Age, circa 2200–586 BCE, witnessed the emergence of the Israelites and the Philistines as dominant forces in Palestine. The Israelites, led by figures such as Moses and Joshua, settled in the region and established the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. The Philistines, a seafaring people of Aegean origin, established city-states along the southern coast of Palestine, including Gaza and Ashkelon. The kingdoms of Israel and Judah played central roles in the religious and political landscape of ancient Palestine. Jerusalem, situated in the hill country of Judah, became the capital of the Israelite kingdom and the spiritual center of Judaism. The construction of Solomon's Temple, a monumental religious structure, symbolized the zenith of Israelite power and prosperity. However, the Israelite kingdoms faced internal strife and external threats from neighboring empires, such as Assyria and Babylon. In 722 BCE, the Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom of Israel and deported its inhabitants, leading to the dispersion of the 10 lost tribes. In 586 BCE, the Babylonians besieged Jerusalem and destroyed Solomon's Temple, leading to the Babylonian captivity and the exile of the Jewish population to Babylon. The Byzantine and Arab rule of Palestine marks a significant period in the region's history, characterized by religious and cultural transformations, territorial disputes, and the rise of Islam. From the 4th to the 7th centuries CE, Palestine experienced profound changes under the rule of the Byzantine Empire and later the Arab Muslim conquerors. The Byzantine period in Palestine began with the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great's conversion to Christianity in the early 4th century CE. Constantine's Edict of Milan in 313 CE granted religious tolerance to Christians and paved the way for the expansion of Christianity throughout the Roman Empire, including in Palestine. The Christianization of Palestine led to the construction of churches, monasteries, and pilgrimage sites, transforming the region into a center of Christian worship and devotion. Jerusalem, in particular, became a focal point of Byzantine Christianity, with the construction of grand churches such as the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, built on the purported site of Jesus Christ's crucifixion and burial. The city's significance as a pilgrimage destination attracted Christians from across the Byzantine Empire and beyond, bolstering its religious and economic importance. However, the Byzantine period in Palestine was not without challenges. The region experienced periodic conflicts and power struggles between the Byzantine Empire and neighboring powers, including the Sasanian Persians to the east. These conflicts often resulted in devastation and hardship for the local population, as seen in the Sasanian conquest of Jerusalem in 614 CE, which led to the plundering of the city and the destruction of many Christian holy sites. The Arab-Muslim conquest of Palestine was relatively peaceful compared to previous conquests, with many cities surrendering to the Muslim forces without resistance. The Arab Muslims introduced a new political and religious order to Palestine, establishing Islamic governance and promoting the spread of Islam through trade, diplomacy, and missionary activities. Under Arab-Muslim rule, Palestine experienced a period of relative stability and prosperity. The Arab Muslims promoted religious tolerance and allowed Christians and Jews to practice their faiths freely, albeit with certain restrictions and obligations. Arabic became the dominant language, and Islamic culture and architecture left a lasting imprint on the region's landscape. One of the most significant developments during Arab-Muslim rule was the construction of the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, completed in 691 CE. This iconic monument, built on the Temple Mount, became a symbol of Islamic architecture and remains one of the most revered sites in Islam. The Byzantine and Arab rule of Palestine laid the foundation for the region's diverse religious and cultural heritage. Despite the passage of time and the changes that have occurred, the legacy of Byzantine and Arab rule continues to resonate in the hearts and minds of the people of Palestine. During the Crusader period in Palestine, which spanned from the 11th to the 13th centuries, the region witnessed a significant influx of European Christian armies seeking to reclaim Jerusalem and other holy sites from Muslim control. The Crusaders established several Latin Christian states, including the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, and the Principality of Antioch. Jerusalem in particular became a focal point of Crusader rule, with the construction of fortified castles, churches, and cathedrals. However, the Crusader states faced constant threats from Muslim armies, as well as internal conflicts and rivalries among European nobles. The Crusader period ultimately came to an end with the capture of Jerusalem by Saladin in 1187, marking the beginning of Muslim rule in the region. The Ottoman Empire's rule over Palestine began in 1517 following the conquest of the Mamluk Sultanate by the Ottoman Sultan Selim Turpers. Under Ottoman rule, Palestine became part of the broader administrative region known as the Damascus Eyalet, with Jerusalem serving as the provincial capital. The Ottomans implemented various administrative and economic reforms, including the establishment of a centralized bureaucracy and the introduction of new taxation systems. Despite periodic revolts and uprisings, Ottoman rule in Palestine was generally characterized by stability and religious tolerance, with Muslims, Christians, and Jews coexisting relatively peacefully. However, the decline of the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century, coupled with increasing European influence in the region, set the stage for significant changes in Palestine's history. The British Mandate for Palestine, established by the League of Nations in 1920, marked a new chapter in the region's history. Following the collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I, Palestine came under British control, with the mandate aimed at preparing the territory for self-governance and facilitating the establishment of a Jewish national home. The British Mandate period witnessed increased Jewish immigration to Palestine, leading to growing tensions between Jewish and Arab communities. The British administration struggled to maintain order amidst escalating violence and unrest, culminating in the Arab Revolt of 1936 and 1939. Despite initial efforts to reconcile competing national aspirations, the British Mandate ultimately failed to resolve the underlying issues and grievances of both Jewish and Arab populations in Palestine. The partition of Palestine and the subsequent establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 marked a pivotal moment in the region's history. Following the end of the British Mandate, the United Nations proposed a partition plan to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. While Jewish leaders accepted the plan, Arab leaders rejected it, leading to the outbreak of the Arab-Israeli War. During the war, Israel declared independence and successfully expanded its territory beyond the boundaries proposed by the partition plan. The war resulted in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, leading to the creation of a large refugee population and laying the foundation for decades of conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a protracted and multifaceted conflict rooted in competing national and religious aspirations, territorial disputes, and historical grievances. Since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, the conflict has been characterized by wars, military occupations, terrorist attacks, and peace negotiations. Key issues of contention include borders, refugees, settlements, and the status of Jerusalem. Efforts to resolve the conflict have been hindered by deep-seated distrust, ideological differences, and external interventions. Despite intermittent periods of calm and diplomatic progress, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains unresolved, with both sides continuing to seek recognition, security, and self-determination. Recent developments in Palestine have been shaped by ongoing political, social, and economic dynamics, as well as regional and international factors. The Oslo Accords of the 1990s, which aimed to establish a framework for Israeli-Palestinian peace negotiations, led to the creation of the Palestinian Authority and the division of the West Bank into areas of Palestinian and Israeli control. However, subsequent peace talks have failed to achieve a lasting resolution to the conflict, with issues such as settlements, security, and the status of Jerusalem remaining contentious. Recently, we have seen increased international scrutiny of Israeli policies, including the expansion of settlements and the blockade of Gaza. Despite ongoing tensions in Gaza, there still remains small hope for a negotiated settlement that addresses the legitimate aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians and paves the way for peace and reconciliation in the region.